Pretty lobster, fascinating. Pretty lobster broiling, covered in butter, like you're thinking. Pretty lobster. Let's make broiled lobster tails. So the first thing we're gonna do is make the flavorings for the butter. Then we're just gonna prepare the lobster tails, pour this butter all over it, and broil it, not very long, okay? But we'll talk about that when we get there. The first thing I'm gonna do is cut some shallots, or shallots as Gordon says. Now, that song I just sang, you may or may not know, is from Sweeney Todd, probably the greatest American musical. Anybody want to talk to you about lyrics? Listen to Pirelli's Magical Elixir. Just try to watch that without being moved. Even if you hate musical theater. Or as Bob Fosse said, I hate musical theater. I thought you loved musical theater. I can go either way. I feel the same way. I'm just going to finely chop this, but not too finely, because we want it a little bit flavory and loud. So I'm just going to do a very rough chiffonade. Tarragon, parsley, and dill. Turn it and chop it again. Should be quite yummy. Okay, I'm putting this all in the mise bowl, and I'm just going to melt some butter in a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to prepare the lobster. Now, this is American lobster. Try not to buy spiny lobster or Caribbean lobster. First of all, it's a langoustine, really. It's not a lobster, but that's okay. It's very suspect how they come to the United States. And they're also overfished, and try not to buy those, okay? This is Maine lobster. How do you get lobster tails without buying the whole lobster? Well, you can buy the whole lobster. You can also get them from certain fishmongers that have a little restaurant thing, especially if they make lobster rolls, they will have separated tails. You can also get them from Lobster Graham. The problem with Lobster Graham is they use a lot of styrofoam. But basically you can get them from a decent fishmonger. Rinse them off. We're gonna cut this shell and we're gonna push the meat out like you see in a restaurant, okay, when the meat is coming out of an opening in the back of the lobster. Now don't worry if you cut the skin, it's okay. You don't wanna cut this. Okay, I'm cutting down the center of this thing. Oh, look, Joanna, a star. A shooting star. Smoke, smoke, sign of the devil, sign of the devil. All right, now we're gonna try to do this thing where we get the meat out. So I'm gonna open this a little bit. I'm sort of putting my fingers underneath to loosen it from the bottom. And then I'm using my thumbs to loosen it from the side. And then I'm just gonna pull it up. Don't lose hope. I'm gonna pull it up like this. Ta-da! I'm gonna cut off these little trailing bits that I made by accident. There you go. There's your lobster tail. This one looks much better. Lift it up and set it on the thing. Set it on the tail. See that? So you don't want your friends to see you do this. You can take it to this point and broil it with the butter on it when they come in. They don't need to see you, removing lobster flesh with your bare hands. So this is an example, just seeing as we're doing it, this is an example of something it's very fancy when you serve it. It's super easy, so it's very impressive if you are having a boy or girl over. If you can just get through this part, you'll be completely fine. And they will be super impressed, trust me. So I'm lifting it up as far back as I can and laying it across the top. There you go. Trim. So this you can do before work. Cover it with a moist paper towel and leave it in the fridge, all right? So see these little pieces here? Just kind of fold them forward like that so that it's a nice little neat package. Also look for the poo sack, I'm just gonna say it, okay? And if it's full, you must remove it. You should really remove it anyway. Mine are clean. There's the sack. Pull that out. They don't need to see you do this. You know what I'm saying? Slightly moisten a towel. There you go. I'm just gonna put this in the fridge for just a few minutes while I make the butter. But you can do this in the morning. Then I would put saran wrap on top of the paper. As usual, there's no room. I'm just gonna make some delicious butter. It's basically all you have to do. I'm going to start with this lump, and I'll move on to a bigger lump if I need to. So, it's a little too much, but who cares? This part you could do before they get here, before they come for cocktails, I would say. This could be slightly warm so that it's ready to go when you need it. You don't want to be doing this kind of thing when they're here. You know what I mean? People don't want to know about this. They just want their lobster tail to appear. You know what I mean? That's too much. I'm going to take this piece out. Now I'm going to put in our delicious herbs and onion. Look at that. Oh! I am going to put in a tiny bit of Aleppo because it's going to look beautiful on the lobster. Aleppo pepper, our old fave. Not too spicy, but packed with flavor. If that doesn't smell good, I don't know what does, right? Lobsters, when I was a kid, lobster was really expensive and hard to, it was like a huge luxury. The truth is, lobster is really not that expensive now. So when you go to a restaurant and they want to charge you this massive amount of money for lobster, it's kind of a throwback because lobster itself, and a fresh direct charges a lot, but your fishmonger, who of course, your fishmonger shouldn't be charging you that much. This is noisetting, meaning it's browning slightly, which I love. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I'm going to put some salt in there. A little bit of salt. Whoa, yeah. Un peu de sel et un peu de poivre. Voila. Beautiful. That's ready. See, it's very hot. Now it'll go back to being butter, a beautiful compound butter, by the way. But if the boy or the girl is coming, you want to just leave it like this. And if it starts to solidify, just keep it on a very small, warming flame so that you're ready to paint your tails when you're going to put them in. Be prepared. Oh yes, these are lobster tails. I thought we'd have some broiled lobster tails for Valentine's Day. I'm going to squirt a little bit of lemon directly on them, like this. I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper right on them, even though there's salt and pepper in the sauce. Okay, just a little bit. I'm going to liberally paint all the skin of the lobster with this stuff. And then we're going to serve it with this sort of like a sauce, right? And then I'm going to spoon some of the solids from here onto them. Oh man, this is going to be good. The tarragon is so perfect. So I'm going to serve this as like a little dipping sauce. I'm going to gussy it up a little bit. And I'm gonna just put some more lemon juice in it and kind of spoon it into a container when I serve. But now I'm going to put these into the broiler. So I put the broiler on. I'm using convection. You don't have to use convection. I have a convection 420 and broil, so I have to keep an eye on it. So here we go. I'm putting it for 8 minutes and then I'll take a look at it. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's my marathon timer, sir. I guess I shouldn't call him sir either, right? Or mister. That's probably not good on a date, right? Thanks, mister. Okay, these are ready. Now, partly I know by instinct, and partly I know by looking. The meat is not translucent anymore. It's white. And it's a little bit firm to the touch. Look at these beauties. Oh my God. Oh, little bit of butter in my hand, little bit of butter. Okay, now I'm just gonna garnish the plate. So some beautiful lemon wedges. Remember, don't be too linear, you know what I mean? And I have some tarragon that I'm just gonna, now he can see you do this. I mean, garnishing a plate in front of somebody is a little weird, but you can certainly do the lemon. I'm just doing a final little Maldon salt across the top and on the lemons, which is always nice, right? And I'm gonna do a little squirt of lemon without the seeds, be careful. He can see you do this. I'm sorry, if you don't get lucky with this, I don't know what to tell you. Go move on to somebody else, okay? And you know, hello, happy Valentine's Day. Pretty lobster, fascinating. Pretty lobster broiling.